I am 36 years old and my wife is 38. We first met when I was in my third year of college and she was in her fourth. We've been together since that day. After 3 years of dating, we decided to move in together. 3 more years passed and we got married. 2 years later, our joy increased when my wife became pregnant and we welcomed the birth of our daughter. As in any normal family, we had a fair share of domestic quarrels, but we always managed to make up quickly, sometimes even in the midst of a quarrel. Overall, we were a classic family. After finishing my education, I started my career path by working hard to climb the corporate ladder. In the end, I earned enough to afford a spacious 4-room apartment. We invested in a major renovation and happily settled in our new apartment. My wife also resumed her career after maternity leave, and everything went well for her. She got a good position and started earning a decent income. By combining our income, we were financially prosperous. Over time, we acquired everything we needed: a new apartment for our growing daughter, expensive cars, and all the amenities that one could wish for. Life seemed abundant. I deeply loved my wife and remained faithful to her throughout our marriage. I was not a heavy drinker, but sometimes I allow myself to drink a glass of wine at dinner. Smoking was a habit I recently gave up. We always planned our holidays together, and I developed a passion for diving and skiing. While my wife decided not to dive out of fear, she learned to ski. Our life revolved around work, earning money, and enjoying the fruits of our labor. My wife's work was connected with international business, which often required her to receive colleagues from abroad for negotiations. Gradually, I began to notice that her communication with these colleagues seemed to last longer than before. Although it seemed curious to me, at first, I didn't pay much attention to it. Another notable change was that she started receiving Snapchat messages in the evenings. Strangely, whenever her foreign colleagues were around, these messages stopped coming. I checked her phone a couple of times after she fell asleep, but all the messages were deleted. I noticed that the last message was always around 7 p.m., despite the fact that the phone received notifications after she had already gone to bed. In the end, suspicion consumed me completely. One day, she came home late around 10 p.m., and I, foolishly, jokingly asked if she had said goodbye to her lover. The fear that flashed in her eyes was something I had never seen before. However, as soon as she realized that I was teasing her, she smiled and brushed it off, calling me a fool. Moreover, she sometimes went abroad to visit her colleagues and return. When my suspicions reached a peak, I couldn't take it anymore. I resorted to installing a spyware on her phone, which allowed me to control it remotely via SMS or from my personal account. This program could record the audio of the environment, take photos with the camera, and send all the data to my personal account. One day, she went on another business trip, and in the evening, I came home from work. I spent time with our daughter, helped her with her homework, and put her to bed by 10 p.m. As soon as she fell asleep, I gained access to the Spyware account and ordered it to record her phone's surrounding sound for 10 minutes. After a few minutes, a recording appeared on my account, and after listening to it, I heard my wife's voice in the room with a man. They spoke English and I understood every word. They discussed the mundane aspects of life and laughed. I realized that they were alone in the room. Suddenly, I heard the clink of glasses in their laughter. At that moment, my heart started pounding wildly. I sent another command to record for an additional 20 minutes and take a picture of the environment. To my horror, the photo turned out to be a black square indicating that the phone was placed with the camera down. I quickly instructed the program to take a picture using the front camera. The resulting photo showed the phone lying on the bedside table in the room, a part of the headboard of the bed, and a wall lamp standing next to it. 15 minutes later, another recording appeared that made me shiver. I played the tape back and heard them laughing and talking again. I found myself in a state of disbelief and shock, as if my whole world was collapsing before my eyes. Stunned, I poured myself a drink and ordered the program to record for 4 hours, after which I drowned my sorrows in alcohol. The next morning, Thursday, I was completely shattered. Since it was time for my daughter to go to school, I told her that she was not required to attend classes that day. I notified my boss that I would take a couple of personal days until Monday. My wife was supposed to return on Sunday. Then I sat down and started listening to the 4-hour recording. However, I only managed to listen for 40 minutes because it was at that moment that I heard the unmistakable sounds of my wife's pleasure. The same sounds that I had known well for more than 13 years. It felt like a knife was stabbed into my heart, causing both emotional and physical pain. Stunned, I rushed to the bathroom and threw up, unable to figure out if it was from a hangover or from the current situation. I stood under an icy shower for 20 minutes, desperately looking for some relief. After that, I took her daughter to visit her grandparents, assuring her that I would explain everything later and return home alone. My wife called during lunch and sincerely asked how I was doing. I stood there in silence, unable to say a word, pretending that the connection was bad. I told her that I was unwell and would stay at home for a couple of days, and that I entrusted our daughter to the care of her grandmother. That day was the most painful in my life. I witnessed a personal hell, feeling completely lost and unsure of what to do. My head was filled with an incessant buzzing that drowned out my own thoughts. I sat on the couch and cried like a child as waves of anger and apathy overwhelmed me. The more I expressed my emotions, the more they dulled in me. By the end of the day, I was emotionally exhausted. In the evening, I returned to the Spyware account and started issuing commands to the phone. I got the photos. Some were taken from her bag and others from the table. There were recordings of her performances in restaurants with numerous voices, obviously her colleagues. Then, in the course of the evening, I came across something. The phone was again on the bedside table, recording her voice along with someone else's. However, this time, there were no intimate sounds. Unable to take it anymore, I called her. After 4 rings, she answered, noticeably out of breath. I asked her about her heavy breathing, to which she replied that the hotel elevator had failed, and she had to climb the stairs to her room. I talked to her for a while, trying my best to keep my voice calm and even. I had announced my intention to go to bed, wished her good night, hung up the phone, and quickly sent a command to the spy program, requesting a quick series of pictures with a front camera. That's when she made a mistake. After our call, she put the phone not on the bedside table, but on the bed, next to her. Consequently, the front-facing camera started sending slightly tilted, but candid photos. Images of her sitting astride another person with her head thrown back. This was followed by a recording that captured those unmistakable sounds that any husband would recognize, instantly revealing her actions. That was the last straw for me. I kept these notes and materials. Although at that moment, she was already a complete stranger to me. From that moment on, I refrained from further investigations until Sunday because everything became painfully clear. I was considering my next steps. Should I seek a divorce? What about our 9-year-old daughter? On Sunday, late at night, she came home, eager to kiss me. I recoiled, reminding her that I was sick. I wanted to hit her, to unleash my anger. Having retired to the office, I went to sleep on the sofa. The next morning, I got up before her and went to work, unable to be around her anymore. I'd endured the day mechanically, then approached my boss and asked for an urgent week's vacation. I recorded all the evidence on a flash drive, and then I called my wife, telling her that I was going on a business trip for one day, but asked her not to take our daughter away from her grandmother, as I had a surprise in store for her. That evening, when I got home, I quickly packed my bag. She helped me pack my things, behaving politely and innocently. However, her hypocrisy only inflamed my rage. I grabbed my bag, put the USB stick on the bedside table in the bedroom, and called a taxi to our second apartment, the one that was reserved for our daughter. Once there, I called a friend and offered to go abroad for a few days for a while. He agreed, and we quickly booked tickets for an early morning flight to Munich. It was there that I revealed everything to him. We drank, wandered around the city, and socialized with other women. To be honest, I no longer felt any affection for my wife. I ignored her calls and only sent her a message instructing her to insert the USB stick into my laptop. After about half an hour, my phone continuously lit up with calls and messages, but I refrained from reading any of them. I just didn't care anymore, so I turned off my phone. We continued our adventures in Munich for 3 more days before I flew home on Saturday. When I got back, I turned on my phone and it took me 5 minutes to process a lot of messages sent by my wife. However, I decided not to read them for fear of falling into confusion before entering the apartment. When I went inside, the atmosphere was eerily quiet. I silently put down my bag, took off my shoes, and was about to wash my hands when she came out of the bedroom. Oh my God. I've never seen her so disheveled and swollen with her face covered in tears. She fell to her knees, trying to explain something incoherently between sobs and slime. I kept a stony expression on my face, convincing her not to make a circus. Then, in a calm tone, I asked her what we were going to do next. She begged me to forgive. Again, tears, snot. She said that she had played too much, that she did not understand how she had come to this. She started calling herself scum, etc., but I caught myself thinking that I no longer feel pity or rage for her. She screamed that she loved and had always loved only me, and all this happened only because she got stuffed and realized during all the days that I was gone that she had broken our crystal castle with her own hand. But as they say, revenge is a dish that should be served cold. I said that now we are not husband and wife. Now we are just mom and just dad for our daughter. And we will pretend that everything is fine with us, but I will live my life and you can live yours. You're not the only one for me anymore. You're just my partner in raising a child. Maybe someday I'll change my mind, but now I'm just sick of just the thought of intimacy with her. By the way, I told her where I was and what I was doing. She said that she understood everything and was ready to endure as long as it took. Well, no one pulled her tongue. As a result, now we live in the same apartment. Although honestly, I've already bought another one for myself and issued it to my father so that there would be no claims in case of property division. I sleep almost constantly in the office, although sometimes I go to sleep in the bedroom for the sake of my daughter. On the part of my wife, there were a couple of attempts to try to hug me when I lay down on the same bed with her, but I stopped them harshly. We haven't had intimacy for 3 months. She didn't tell her parents anything, only her father knows of mine. We agreed that once a year, we go on vacation as a family for a week, but now it would be separate beds. I'm constantly hanging out with friends and have new acquaintances among them. There are beautiful women. I sometimes think when she'll come up and say that she's had enough and she leaves or, for example, files for divorce and we divide the property, but she doesn't. I constantly catch her looking at me. Like the look of a shriek cat, but I honestly don't give a shit. Although I see that she is trying, but I revel in her pain. Recently, I defiantly put a pack of condoms on the desk in the office to look at. Despite her reaction, she came in to say something, saw them on the table, and flew out of the office like a bullet, probably crying, did not catch up. She still goes to work, but she really doesn't stay late. Although honestly, I don't follow practically. Somehow, she came up and tried to explain to me that she had broken off all relations with that man except business. And it seems like at work, she will still have to communicate with him by letters or in negotiations. But she swears that she does not even approach him now. By the way, this freak also has a family. To which I told her that her relationship with sexual partners does not concern me and she is free to do what she wants. It is not necessary to report on whether she spread her legs today or not. I myself sometimes come back after midnight now or vice versa. I leave when my daughter goes to bed from Friday to Saturday, for example. Naturally, I do not limit myself in anything. If I want sex, then it will definitely take place. I come in the morning and go to the office to sleep off or to the bedroom if she is not there anymore. Nothing has changed in the home routine. I still buy groceries. I love and know how to cook. We had cleaning on the incoming housekeeper, so nothing has changed here. I have been paying for the apartment and I am still paying. Where she spends her money and whether she spends it, I don't care. Communication like loving each other is only for our daughter or her parents if they come. Although it seems to me that if I tell my mother-in-law, she will probably strangle her right in front of my eyes. I have a great relationship with my mother-in-law. She is an intelligent woman and strictly respects family values. Surely, this is another argument why the wife does not want to leave. Apparently, she is afraid of her mother. Because mom will definitely ask the question, what the hell is going on? And I'm not going to lie. In general, I mock her as much as I can and I really enjoy it. Yes, maybe I've become a monster now, but she herself gave birth to that monster. And you know what amazes me? Her perseverance and patience. It's like a red flag to a bull for me. I wonder how much more she can take. And please don't start with the whole, she's the mother of your child, blah blah blah. What she was giving herself to that jerk, she didn't care much about that. For half a year, going on business trips or spreading her legs in this city without thinking about our daughter or her husband. No comment. Every time I feel like my armor will crack, I remember that day, what I felt back then, and it eases me. I become stone again. So this is how I live now. Everything is fine with our daughter. We are great parents, and I still help her with her lessons in the evenings. Our mutual friends know nothing. Maybe when I get tired of tormenting her or realize that enough is enough, I'll switch off the bastard mode and have a talk with her. But not now. Not now. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Until next time, I'll see you again. Take care.